Are Black Americans mentally insane for boycotting all Asian businesses? I mean, all Asian businesses? Like, are you crazy? Short answer, they're not. They're right on code. Let's get right into it now. So let's get right into it. My name is Vic Samar, and I am the unofficial ambassador of the Black diaspora. And so I'm going to be talking about what happened a couple of weeks ago, which a man by the name of Rick Chow, I believe he's of Chinese origin, he has I guess a little store. Was it a gas station store? I don't know. But he had accused a black boy of basically going in and stealing a bottle of water. Turns out he didn't. Chased the black boy as well as with his son and shot him in the back of his head. Or in his back, I don't know, killed the boy basically. And so he obviously was found not guilty, and black people are at an uproar at that, and they're very angry, rightfully so. So this whole conversation has led to Black Americans wanting to boycott Asian products. And the truth is that as somebody who, again, is the unofficial ambassador of the Black diaspora, it is overdue and it is well warranted. And it shouldn't really stop at the Asian community, to be honest with you. And, let's just get right into it. When it comes to the Black diaspora, we all experience almost the same hate. Even though we are in different countries in different parts of the world, it's the same situation. Within the Caribbean or within Africa, you'll have Asian people come into the country and you'll have them barricade themselves and not allowing black folks, the people of the country, to even access their businesses if they want to. There's businesses that they'll make for the black folks to buy a shit ton of products that are not really good quality, whatever, cool, you may come to make your business, whatever. But then there are businesses where they'll reserve that shit for themselves. I've never heard that before. And only Asian people do that. I've never ever heard that before. Right? And then you'll literally be watching videos of Chinese, individuals who go to Kenya who are making vlogs about how they're not going to turn back to China because it's a much better lifestyle for them to live in Kenya. And that could never be the reality of a black person that goes to China. And I love China. I think China is one of the most important countries on this planet. Like, really, the most, to be honest with you. And but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they get so comfortable in our spaces that they forget to understand that it's not theirs. And I think that's the same situation when it comes to the Black American community. Is that you have a lot of the Asian folks who purposely open their businesses in black spaces because they depend on the black economy. Because why? White people would not allow them to open their businesses in their space, and also Hispanic Latinos would not do so because they occupy their own spaces. Black people, they have their own spaces. They have, just like everybody else, they have businesses there as well. But you can get more out of black businesses. No shade. Black spaces, right? And that's why they open businesses in black spaces. That sounded like a mouthful. So with that being said, you have a lot of Asian people that are very much confused as to why the Black American community want to punish all collective Asians. You have some Asians making videos saying that, well, I don't think you understand how big Asia is and all the different countries. And my thing is that as somebody who's very familiar with all Asian countries, because I live in Canada and I've always been surrounded by Asians from different backgrounds. So it's never been a surprise to me. But I think a lot of you guys are doing yourself a disservice by posing that question to Black Americans, because if they actually did their research and they actually figured out what a lot of y'all think about them. Come on now, girls. Let's not do this now. Come on, let's not do that, okay? And it's just really kind of sad, because when I'm thinking, I've had experience to be around different kind of cultural backgrounds, but specifically when it comes to Asia, and I would say that almost everybody has a deep dislike towards black folks, and it ranges from whether it just be Africans. It's different. Black Americans and Africans, very different to them. Like, Black Americans would get the ratchet, loud, and this and that. Africans get the dirty, underdeveloped sort of like rhetoric being said about them through a lot of these cultures. And so, I don't really know who you're trying to convince when y'all be saying shit like this. It makes no sense. At the end of the day, everybody gets told, if you need something, right? If you need something from a store, just go and get it. Black American folks, when that's the case for them, not only do they have to go to a store where it is not a black person, it's not black owned, so problem number one. But when they go in there, they are always made to feel uncomfortable. If you're gonna open your store in a community or neighborhood that is that have a couple of people underneath the poverty line, you have to expect the fact that you're gonna get stolen from. No shade, you're gonna expect that. But the issue is that it's not just black kids that do that; it's also white kids. And I know for a fact that the white folks get to get away with that shit. You do not police them the way you do when it comes to black boys or black girls. You don't do that. And I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. I've seen it many times, especially for me, even being in Canada, even though it's not the same country. But when I used to have white homegirls, they would just tell me that they would be able to walk into Sephora or basically anywhere and just steal. Literally steal. That was crazy to me because I couldn't walk in. Like, I had so much anxiety walking to a store because I know that somebody's gonna eventually come up to me and try to talk to me and try to be like, it's not even just simply about, do you need anything? Because if it's that, if that was genuine, they would have walked away. No. Look at you up and down to see if you've taken anything while you were here and just try to harass you to make you feel uncomfortable to eventually either buy something right now or to get out. And this is any kind of store. I've experienced experiences with the Middle East. Middle Eastern people. I don't know. Middle East Asians, Southeast Asians. Where else? South Asians in general. Like, I've experienced that shit in all kinds of stores, and specifically white stores as well too. So it's just kind of crazy to me how a lot of you guys feel shocked. You feel shocked about black people's response when this is the reality every single day. This is the reality that they live in every single day. This is what I mean by this is long overdue, because simply they're saying, do not go into these businesses, shop black. So, and I think that's always been the problem with black folks, well, specifically let's say black Americans, but black folks in general, but the topic is about black Americans, is that they are overly too open. They are overly too open. They're overly too open to when it comes to businesses, when it comes to economies, sharing economies, when all these other races and different backgrounds, they don't really share the economies. They're very close when it comes to that. They shop their own people. If they know there are people on a certain kind of store, they go there specifically. They make their way to go there. And this is not just America. This is also in Canada. I worked for a call center where people with different backgrounds would call. It was a transportation job where you, like, older people, they would call in and then book a transportation to come and pick them up and drop them somewhere, and it was for like $2. And all these people, like an Italian person would call in and they'd want to go to a specific Italian market, and no matter how far it was, like, I want to go there and I'm not going to go anywhere else. Same thing with the Hispanic lady. They want to go to a Hispanic market. Same thing with an Asian, specifically Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai people. They would want to go to a specific market that is there. But when it comes to black Americans, it's, you know, take me wherever I need to go, because they want to support, you know, people, POCs, right? Businesses are POCs. And so that's... it's sad all around, but all I have to say is that this is long overdue. This should have happened a long time ago, and it wasn't. It's not even only supposed to be Asian folks, by the way. And for a lot of the Asian people to have a problem with this, it's really telling, because the fact that you hear boycott, your immediate thought was, oh, so you want to starve us. Not that, oh, we got an inherent problem. And thank goodness there are Asians that actually are talking about that. I'm not going to say that they're, like, none of them are there. No, there are some Asians that are exposing that and seeing it for what it is. The fact that y'all are so quick to think about the economy and not why black folks are doing that, that is so crazy. That is so crazy. Even where I live, again, I'm not in America, but I live where it's predominantly Asian folks here. Predominantly, and the shit that I've experienced, to be honest with you, I just don't really care, because I'm gonna leave anyways, and I'm gonna go back to my country, and my whole thing is building it and then just having it for Negroes. But I'm keeping notes. I'm keeping notes of interaction with all these different groups of people and how they feel about my existence, and it's not something to be argued with. But I think a lot of y'all who are walking and trying to make it seem like, oh, you know, black Americans do not know what they're talking about, is so crazy. And some of y'all who are like, oh, well, you know, well, why are black Americans still using phones and still using this? Y'all are stealing resources from Africa. Come on. And even then, let's be very clear. I love China. Could I ever live in China for forever or a long time? Absolutely not. Because they're not my people. I know that. But I love China and of how they've advanced. However, If I'm gonna sit here, do you think I'm gonna sit here and deny that Chinese people have a problem with racism? Yes, I'm not gonna do that. I can always admit that they do, even if I live for them. And I don't know why y'all want to try to jump in and be like, okay, well, boycott the social media, boycott this and that. Like, y'all used and abused the shit out of Black American culture. Come on. And that is throughout all of Asia. If somebody uses your culture, that is your dear culture, and they're doing it, you would call that out immediately. But y'all overuse and abuse the shit out of Black American culture to the point where it's like, it doesn't even matter, and they don't even need to call you up on anything. In fact, the only time they bring it up is when you're inherently anti-Black. So this isn't a hate towards, oh, all the Asian people in the world must die. And the fact that you see it as that is so crazy to me. Because again, you're thinking about, oh wow, somebody's going to be losing their store, somebody's going to lose their business. Instead of, well, if that person is inherently anti-Black, which a lot of Asian stores are. And it's not even, to be honest with you, it's not even a generalization. It's just a fact. It's just baked within the culture. Rather than admitting that, even though you probably have friends or parents or whatever that be using the shit out of the N-word and saying some really nasty shit about Black folks, you're thinking about somebody's pockets. That's insane. That is literally insane. At the end of the day, what Rick Chow did, he wouldn't have done it to a white boy. And if it was a white boy, he would have gone to prison. And a lot of y'all know that too. So anyways, Black Americans are well within their rights to do what they need to do. In fact, I can't wait for them to boycott any other groups of people because y'all are tired. No shade. But it's no hate to the other Asian girls in their countries that are doing, like, minding their own business, whatever. It's no hate, but Black Americans wanting to boycott, keep their dollars, that will never be a hate as well, and that is well within their rights. It's very simple. Simple as that. Ciao.